Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to have a look at the latest version of the Flight Sim Studios Embraer once again. And this time we're sitting in the Embraer 190. As you can see, the current version number is 0.9.31, and this is actually iteration number 2 of this version 31 over here. They did have a couple of issues like flickering displays with earlier ones, but this one is from the 10th of September 2024, and I'm recording this one in the early morning hours of the 12th, so it's 2 days old at the time of this recording. Now, I would have loved to actually show you the aircraft from the outside and then enter it like I usually do on most of my videos, because this is a beautiful livery done by Atarium, who once again painted the cabin, which looks really good, as always. The only problem is, when I try to show it to you from the outside, you can see all these pink decals over here, which seems to be a known issue with the current version, so it doesn't really look that good. For that reason, we're just gonna stay inside today, but just so that you know, current version has some of these graphical issues. Those are not issues with the liveries, by the way. I did try default liveries as well, and they showed the same behavior, and Flight Sim Studios have acknowledged that as a bug and added it to their bug tracker for an update for the next version then. Nonetheless, just to mention it, once again, I am flying in an Atarium livery, and it just looks very good as always, doesn't it? The custom textures he's added to the cabin once again really give this aircraft somewhat of a charm. I do really like that. Okay, so now let's enter the cockpit and let's go ahead and start flying. So we are in Frankfurt at the moment, Victor 108. We're going to fly the aircraft over to Münster-Osnabrück, which is a quick 35-minute flight that Lufthansa CityLine used to operate on these aircraft. Okay, so our build number is checked over here, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Looks a little bit nicer if that thing is not displayed in the cockpit, isn't it? After all, you don't have a version number in the real one as well. Okay, so for the power-up, we are going to start by turning on the batteries on and auto. Give the airplane a little bit of time to power up over here. Wait for the screens to power up. And while all of that good stuff is in progress here, we can go ahead and start checking our EFB. So we will definitely get ourselves a ground power unit today, and then we can go into the flight schedule, import the Simri flight plan, which is Frankfurt to Osnabrück, Lufthansa 062. Add that one in, and going into some of the flight details over here. We can see 45 minutes block time is planned, 100 passengers, which is maximum load for this aircraft. Fairly short route over here, cruising altitude, flight level 220. Okay, so pilot in command, that happens to be me. And then we can go into the departure page. So I'm going to leave all the load sheet numbers default over here. The only thing that I am going to change is the fuel load. And we are going to make this a little bit more here, 2,800 kilograms, just so that we have a little bit of extra over here. Okay, then runway is going to be 25 center. It's a dry runway, and we'll take a flaps 2 takeoff over here. And we can calculate 25 center dry with a flaps 1 takeoff over here. We'll import the environmental data and hit calculate. Okay, so in terms of boarding, let's go ahead and make it instant down here so that we've got everything on board. And then let's go ahead and request GSX boarding over here. And well, yeah, you can go ahead and board the crew, please. We need a little bit of time anyway. Okay, so that's looking good. With that, we've got our aircraft properly loaded. So let's return to our power-up procedure down here. The battery voltage needs to be above 22.5, which it is. And then we can go ahead and check our fire extinguishers. The switch is located on the overhead. Unfortunately, Flight Sim Studio built the aircraft in a way that when I press and hold the switch, I can't really look around, because normally I would be looking to the ICAS now to check that the correct messages are actually shown, but unfortunately over here that does not work. Okay, so GPU is available and we can turn it on. And here we go, our aircraft starts to power up. So let's give it a couple of moments to finish the power up process. That's looking good. Okay, what's the outside temperature? 13 degrees. Well, I do suppose we are just going to start up the APU over here as well. So APU on and start. Okay, in the meantime, navigation light is coming on, and looking at the hydraulics panel next, let's go ahead and select the synoptic page here. So, hydraulics, let's turn everything on. Just to make sure that the system is operating correctly. And that is looking good. Everything's in the green. Well, then we can turn the electric pumps back to auto again. And make sure that no CBs are popped, but as you can see, not really many of them over here. So system config, quick check down here. Looking good, and right back to the status page, please. Wonderful. Okay, doors are getting opened already as the loading is commencing. Our cabin crew is just about arriving on the aircraft as well, so we can start our boarding in a couple of moments. Refueling is finished already, so let's go ahead and turn the signs on. Emergency lights to armed, since we are going to start boarding in a few moments. Okay then, flight data recorder. Now I would technically have to check the ICATS message again, but unfortunately that is not working at this moment. Okay, well, good enough for us. We are going to leave it at that. Then let's go ahead with our before start procedure. So starting on the top left, IDGs in auto, bus tie auto, the TIUs all on auto, batteries on, bus tie auto. Panel lighting, suppose we can turn the lights off over here, it is daylight after all. Okay, annunciator test. Once again, we would have to look around the flight deck to make sure that everything works. I really hope they can enable that with a future update, that you can look around while you're holding down a button. That works really well, for example, in the PMDG and the Phoenix aircraft. Okay, so continuing over here, fuel transfer off, DC pump auto, AC pumps auto, passenger signs are already set up. Moving on to the fire extinguisher panel, everything's guarded, APU is running, wipers off, external lights are set. Hydraulics panel, auto. We'll keep the electric pump 3A on at this point. Well, actually, I'm just re-looking into the FCOM over here. We gotta turn it back off again. It was only on for the check. Okay, pressurization, everything is automatic and guarded, and finally the heating systems all automatic, and the air conditioning all automatic as well. So looking good. Then we can move down a little bit to our main panel. Down here, reversionary panel, auto, and the panel brightnesses are all set. Suppose we can turn the standby up a little bit here. Okay, looking good. And then going back down. Down here everything's guarded, and parking brake is set. So speed brake's up, flap lever is in agreement with the actual flap indication, and that's it. Alright, so that's the good stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and go into our FMS setup. So, 12th of September 2024, 1010 Zulu, with a current nav database over here. Let's go over to the route page, and we can do our flight plan uplink over here. Actually, before we do that, we'd have to enter the flight number. But why don't we just go ahead and actually do that stuff manually for once again? So, flight plan. Originating Frankfurt, destination is gonna be Münster. If you will. Thank you. Okay, departure. Runway 25 center maroon, 3 whiskey departure. Apply. Alright, so next page. And then we are going to fly via the routing that I've just shown you a bit earlier. And that is going to be Maroon Yankee 152 RPEC. So, Yankee 152.rpec. Yeah, that format should work, shouldn't it? I have a feeling it might be confused because of the destination we have here already. Let's just give that another try. RPEC. That's looking better. And then Yankee 152. Is that gonna work? No. Okay, well, I suppose manually entering those airways is a bit problematic then. At least right now, but not much of a problem. After all, there aren't many waypoints here. So we'll just do RPEC, hum, and then our arrival already. So, runway... Oh, that's interesting. Those are the Frankfurt runways, not the Münster runways that we see over here. Okay, the stars are correct. For the approaches, we gotta select the runway. Well, 2.5 maybe? Yeah, looks like it. Huh, that was interesting. Okay, so runway 25, hum, ILS approach, apply. They certainly don't have that many runways over in Münster. It's only one runway they have, literally. But okay, that shall be fine for now. In that case, let's go ahead and continue with our performance initialization. So, performance init, takeoff and landing fuel. I know I keep messing that up. So, 2770 is going to be our takeoff fuel, and the landing fuel is going to be 2000. Okay, performance factor 1 is okay. Next, cruising altitude, flight level 220. Cruise winds up there are round about nothing today, so nothing to worry about. Okay, zero fuel weight. Let's go ahead and have a look at it on the manifest. So, looking at 36,452. Okay, fuel is looking good, gross weight looking good, CG 16.1, and in here we've got 16.4, that's good enough for me. I suppose we can edit this? No, we can't. Okay. Alright, well, that's good enough for me. Then, climb speed 270.73, that is all looking good. Then let's move on to our takeoff data set. So, what do we have over here? Takeoff 2. Gotta be that one then, I guess. ADX on, ECS off. Anti-ice off, flex takeoff. Suppose we can turn that on. Do we have flex temperature anywhere here? Yeah, 33. Okay, takeoff temperature itself is 13 centigrade. So let's go ahead and enter that as well. Interesting. Editing that kills the flex. Okay. But 33 is okay. So we are just going to keep that. Alright. Enter. So auto is good. Climb 2 is good. Back to the data set. And it's changed the flex temperature. That was 33. Okay, here we are again. So back to FMS takeoff. Flaps 2. Takeoff CG 16.1, that's correct this time. 13, flags is on, 32. Okay. So then into our performance data. Do we have an ATIS anywhere over here? I don't think we actually do, huh? Nah, not really. Okay. Well, not a problem. I'm just gonna use the one from SimBrief then. So current weather 190 at 8. Here we go. The temperature 13, runway dry. And the QNH is actually 1013, so all that good stuff is looking correct. And here is our takeoff data entered. Perfect. Onto the climb. That's looking good. Transition altitude 5000. Speed limit 250 below 10,000 is also good. Okay, so the only thing that's left right now would be to check our routing to make sure that this actually matches the flight plan. And that is, of course, still somewhat of an issue, since our aircraft does still not have that ability. So what we're going to do is we'll just take the Frankfurt chart, SID chart, make sure that we actually do have the correct waypoints in here, and we are just going to do the speeds manually then. So Delta Fox 999 maximum 200 and above 800 feet. We have 999 in here. Just go to plan mode here. And here we go. Okay, so thereafter we do have a couple of radius to fixed legs over here. I suppose that's what the default Microsoft system inserts as user waypoints. Well, can live with that, I guess. Though I'm wondering if we should be able to look through our flight plan here. I believe this worked somehow. Might just be me not knowing what I'm doing here. Okay, here we go. That's what we wanted to see. Okay, so then we continue via Delta Fox 998, maximum 200 knots, Delta Fox 996, also maximum 200 knots. Thereafter we go into the turn at 995, 230 knots already, 994, 992, Lisku. And thereafter Taboom, Lixi, Lorpa, Maroon. And Lisku, Taboom, Lixi, Lorpa, Maroon is what we have, and looking over that on our nav display, that looks exactly like what we've planned. Okay, wonderful. So with that, our FMS setup is completed down here. Initial climb clearance, flight level 70. Set, and the speed initially 200 knots should be good for our initial climb here as per the SID restriction. Okay. So toga switches are pressed and toga mode is active. The rest of this stuff here is looking good. I'd say with that we are all done with our setup. Wonderful, so what's our boarding status then? Waiting for my action, open the door. Wonderful, okay. Well, in that case, suppose we are going to have a short bit of delay there. It's interesting though. It could look and control the cargo doors, but apparently it can't control the aft entry door. That is somewhat strange once again, but well, I don't care. Let's pretend we're ready over here, and let's go ahead and request GSX to prepare our position for the pushback. Okay, doors closed, ground power unit, do we still need it? I don't think we do. Electrical, as you can see, we are currently powered by the APU already, so let's go ahead and disconnect the ground power over here. Okay, remove GPU, remove all those coverings over here, and then GSX, prepare for pushback and departure. Handling by Fraport once again. And that's it. Wonderful. Okay, so I think with that we are pretty much done with everything. Of course, there will be a couple of procedural flows in here that is normal, as I'm not type rated on the aircraft. So radius 122.8, active COM 1, 1215, active COM 2, transponder 2000. Or actually, let's enter some random squawk over here. Here we go. So we still only have Tara mode in here, which is a little unfortunate, but okay. Flight ID D Lufthansa 062. Pressure altitude 370. I wonder if this should be shown flight levels rather than altitude. I know it says altitude, but since flight levels are what the aircraft sends over to ATC, oh well, we'll leave it at that, shall we? Okay, so transponder coming on then. Flight plan. And over here might as well go for our performance. Okay, perfect, that's what I've been looking for. In that case, we should be pretty much ready to go over here. So, hydraulic pump 3A on, beacon on. And the doors and windows are closed down here and down here. Okay, ground from flight A. Go ahead. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed. Roger, we're ready for pushback. Park and brake set. Runway 25 center in use. Only straight option. Not exactly perfect GSX profile here. They do sometimes push you straight at these gates, but likewise they should also have an option to push you left or right. They should have all those options. But okay, so be it, we can live with it. Well, in any case, the parking brake is released and we're ready for engine start when you are. Roger, stand by. Okay, so, we do have the ICAS steering off memo over here. Otherwise, things would get rather problematic. Okay, well, then let's go ahead and start the engines. Engine 2 start. And 2. Oil pressure. So I'm wondering, do we really have 0 and 1, or is that just the indication that's still at 0? Well, it is turning, but very slowly down there, huh? But here it comes, okay. Pushback complete, set park and brake. Park and brake set. And we're starting engine 1. Clear 1. Okay, engine 1 start. And here's something interesting. The ADEX once again went to 32 degrees rather than 33. Why is that? Because it's changed it once again. Takeoff data set. 33. Enter. And it's automatically going back to 32. Interesting. Is that because of the maximum D-rate that the airplane can have? Maybe. But even if it is, then we shouldn't get 33 degrees on the manifest up here. Interesting. Okay, well, doesn't really matter. Ground flight, go ahead. We've got 2 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the sign and the pin on the left side, and have a good day. Okay, I think he's basically gone, is he? There she is. Okay, sign is seen, and she's holding the pin as well. Perfect. So, APU coming off, and one target is checked, transponder set, flaps and slats. Position 2. Okay then, flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Auto brake into RTO, and that's probably all we need over here. Okay. So, clear left side, clear right side. Taxi light on, flight deck is sterile. And off we go. Brake check. A little bit of power here to get it moving. Okay, let's revise the takeoff briefing. It is going to be a left seat takeoff on runway 25 center, flaps 2, noise abatement procedure number 2, initial speed restriction 200 knots, which should be sufficient to retract the flaps already. Climbing flight level 70, we'll have to do manual speed control here, because the FMS is not capable of handling any restrictions at the moment. But that's really it. Emergencies, we proceed on the runway heading, climbing to something like 5,025 miles, and then come back. And that's it. Any questions? No? Beautiful. Okay then. So, we are clear everywhere. Can certainly take the full runway length.
Takeoff, okay.
Alright, takeoff config is looking good. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Clear on the approach, and clear on the right. The windsock indicates a little bit of wind from the left side there, but nothing significant. Okay, so that is looking really good. Ready for rolling? So, auto throttle armed. Takeoff. Thrust set. Checked. You're up. Okay, enough. Let's start the acceleration. Flaps 1. Speed checked. And flaps 0. Speed checked, flaps 0. Okay, a little bit of manual flying over here. Because I still find it a challenge to fly on that flight director, on the flight path vector based flight director. Even though the Airbus also has something like that, we don't really practice doing it because, well, we don't do it. But in the Embraer, obviously you have to. Okay, so climb thrust is set. Autopilot. And then let's go up to the next higher level. 130 is going to be next. Speed restrictions up to 996 200. We're about 996 right now. After that we can accelerate. So, couple of clouds over here. Temperature 9 degrees. Anti-icing is automatic in this airplane, so we shouldn't have to worry about it. Set standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 57 now. Okay, 3,000 feet a minute, very nice. Overflow 996, next speed limit is going to be 230. If you can find the proper click spot. Okay, tell you what, you can also dial it up over here. So let's do it that way, 230. Nothing visible for the moment. Temperature plus 7. No anti-icing at the moment, but we don't need to. Overall, turning on the anti-ice at 10 degrees is really somewhat of a precaution. So let's see how well it flies that turn over here. This is still the default Asobo system, so not surprising if it's not perfect, but for the moment, the tracking of the lines actually looks rather okay to me. Okay, approaching 10,000. We'll keep the passengers seated for the moment. And then we can climb to a cruising level 220. Finishing up the turn over here, let's go to FMS speed. And accelerating 270. Looking good. Alright, so something that we just about noticed when changing the range over here is initially you have a lot of indications over here and all those small airports as well that the aircraft couldn't land on anyway. But if we just give it a little while, it should start filtering those. Here you go. So now you only have the more important information. Let's deselect nav aids and items. Like that, our display is a lot clearer. And as you can see, it really only shows us airports now that do have somewhat of a longer runway that the aircraft could actually land on. So, they are slowly putting this thing together. We really have to admit that. We really have to. So something I'm wondering about now, after Maroon, we did enter Hotel Mike Mike. Where does RPEC come from? I don't remember inserting that one in our flight plan. It would have been on the airway, but how did it get in here? Okay, well, for now doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and proceed direct Hotel Mike Mike. So that way we can check if directs are working by now. And I think they are. Within the scope of the normal Asobo system, let's just update that direct. Huh, we can't. Okay. Well. So it's still trying to intercept the immediate line from the position where we entered the direct, rather than doing it from the present position, including the initial turn that it has to fly. But that's okay. Things could be worse. Things could be much worse. There is progress after all in this aircraft. There is progress, and we do have to appreciate that. Okay, we should be clear of any possible turbulence now. Fasten belts off. Taxi lights, of course, should have been off already. And that's it. Okay, beautiful. So, looking at the cabin pressurization, that is working. 6.2 psi at roughly 18,000 feet looks about alright to me. Well, so far, so good. 117 miles to run, but definitely not an hour and 1 minute. Not sure where that comes from, how it tries to calculate the estimated time en route, but this would really be neat if they could fix that, because the estimated time en route can nicely be used for some manual vertical speed calculations for the descent, especially while the airplane does still not have VNAV. Okay, approaching. So they did implement custom vertical autopilot modes here. Let's go VS and see how well that is going to behave. Seems to react pretty quickly, but apart from that, let's just give that another try here. Let's go VS 1000, see how quickly it reacts. Yeah, that is very quick. Passengers would feel pretty uncomfortable with that. The same as we're pitching up. The pitching moment is still a bit too quick here. They should reduce that in order to make the aircraft a little bit more... So, 1000 to go. Let's do that again. VS 1000. So yeah, they should reduce the rate at which the aircraft pitches. That might really create some, let's say, puking passengers. Let's just be blunt up here. Nonetheless, looking at the nav display, I really do appreciate the filters they've added to the airports now. If you look at the nav display over here, then basically all airports we got over here are really those with the longer runways. Kassel, Paderborn, Dortmund, Düsseldorf, Nürnberg, Cologne, and Siegerland. All of those are certainly those with the longest runways in the range of the nav display over here. Okay, outside. And leveling off right now. Come on, capture that altitude. Alt. Perfect. Okay, looking good. Then let's go ahead and get out the approach charts already. Going into Münster. Approach, ILS approach runway 25. Here it is. So we've selected the standard approach out of HumVOR down here. Hum outbound till 15 miles, minimum 5,000, thereafter 3,000 to 21.5, left and turn inbound for the approach. Frequency 110.1. And we can just tune that on both sides here. So, what else do we need? Mike Oscar Delta 1405 and Hum 1565. So 11565 into standby nav 2 and 11405 into standby nav 1. Or actually, if we make that the other way around, it makes more sense for our tuning for the missed approach, because that way we can fly based on nav 1 and we can use the DME from nav 2. Makes life a little bit easier. Okay, minimum's 360. Here we go, barrel 360 is in here, and that's pretty much it. So, quick check of our FMS routing. Break something here, because it's not going any further. Okay, I might have broken something here. In that case, we'll just have to compare it off the FMS. So Hum outbound 032, 15 miles, and we have 033, 15 miles. That's okay for me. So that one is above 5,000. Let's see, can we enter restrictions over here manually? No. Also no. Okay, too bad. I hope we could at least enter it manually, but doesn't look like it. Alright, well, that's okay. Thereafter, same track, that's 6.5 miles over there, and then we start the left turn, so 033, 6.5 miles is perfect. Starting our left turn, we have Ibato at 8.9 miles. So in here we have the center fix. Center fix is always 10 miles out. Then Ibato, 0.9 away, so 8.1 indeed. 9.3 miles to run over here, that's good enough for me. There is no missed approach flatline in here, so we gotta do that manually. Which is 5.2 DME Mike Oscar Delta, and then a left turn inbound to Humvee, climbing 5,000. 2,500 MSA. Well, and that's it. Parts of IFR profiles with an airspace class Echo. Watch out for VFR traffic unknown to air traffic control. Okay. So that's going to be for the descent then. So speed limit, due to that airspace class Echo, 220 below 10,000. Transition level. Well, for that we need the latest weather information. Can't really gather that in here, can we? No, we only have a departure manifest. Nothing for our approach. Okay, well, hopefully they can add that with a future update. So we are looking at weather from SimBrief once again, which I'm quickly getting off screen for you. So it's 250 at 7, slightly variable, scattered clouds 1900, broken 3200, broken 4100, 12 degrees, QNH 1012. So that means the transition level is going to be flight level 70. Speed is looking good, 280 and 0.74, 220 below 10,000. And for the landing itself, let's go to the init page here. So temperature 12, flaps 5, Cat 1 approach 250 at 7. No icing condition. Looking good. Runway heading, that one's green. That should have been filled automatically there, but 250 it is. Here we go. 7 knot headwind. Surprise. Who could have told? Alright. Looking good. Flaps 5. The speeds are in. Perfect. And we'll do the green dot selection here. Alright. I'm happy with that. Okay, cool. So for our descent, we're in level 220. Gotta go down to reach 3000 by the final approach fix. As 3000 is our platform altitude down here, that means we gotta lose 19,000. 19 times 3 is 57. So we need 57 nautical miles, plus what we need to reduce our airspeed. So that's gonna be another 7. So we're looking at 64 nautical miles to start our descent. And that is 64 miles from the destination. Which is a small bug over here again. This one shows the direct distance from the present position to the destination. But this should be along the flight plan. That would make our life a lot easier. A lot easier. But okay, we can help ourselves here. We set 64 miles. Now the outbound lag over here is 21.5 plus the turn. So you can make that roughly 25 miles. Well, let's make it 24 for easier calculation. Because in that case, we have 40 miles before Hum, where we need to start our descent. And looking at that, we're at 43 right now. So that way we can easily manage our descent profile without having to mess with any missing VNAV that the plane unfortunately still has. Okay, last but not least, we'll select auto brake low over here, which also brings up all the indications that are relevant for our landing. So approaching 40 miles, altitude going down, FPA -3, and that should be about as easy as it gets. Just a 3-degree path, that's exactly what we aim to fly, and that's it. Wonderful. Okay then, let's quickly go ahead and have a look into the approach briefing. So no threats for the arrival, really. MSA 2,500. We'll take the hum transition for the ILS approach runway 25. Minimum 360. Go around trajectory straight at 5.6. Left to the VOR climbing 3,000. Extra fuel. Well, I have no idea what we need over here, so there is extra fuel. The approach will be guided by the flight director for a config 5 landing. Stop margins plenty. We'll use the reversers and auto brakes low. Runway exit to the left side. I don't see any hotspots for taxiing. Nothing special. In terms of non-standards, also nothing. So, threats for the arrival, VFR traffic. How do we accommodate for that? Well, we are going to fly 220 below 10,000. We'll maximize use of the auto flight system so that we can improve our look outside the aircraft and try to spot any VFR traffic that there may be. And that's it. Any questions? No? Beautiful. Alright, so it's a fairly short flight, but that gives us the opportunity to just discuss a couple of my impressions of the aircraft for the time being. So as always, Flight Sim Studios Embraer. It is coming together. Once we have the custom FMS, that is really when we can rate the aircraft properly. For now, many things that are outside the aircraft or outside the FMS start to come together fairly nicely. Few things there on the autopilot, as I pointed out, some lesser pitching moments. Now, again, it is rather hard for me to judge the system accuracy because I'm just not a type-rated Embraer 190 series pilot. But there are a couple out there. Once again, I can very much recommend the channel Crew Rest. Ethai is a real-life Embraer pilot, so he does know his way around this aircraft. And I'm sure he can give a couple more details about the aircraft systems. But that's pretty much all that I can add over there. So my main summary here is the aircraft does start to come together. There are a couple unfortunate issues introduced with it every now and then, like right now the color issues on the liveries here or here. Something that they're hopefully going to fix rather soon. Apart from that though, the aircraft starts to become better and better. As soon as the custom FMS is in there, the original schedule was summer this year, and well, the original was summer last year, then they moved it to summer this year, but we still haven't seen it. There are a couple hints in their latest blog post that it might come around Christmas. we'll just have to wait and see about that part. In any case, if you're potentially interested in the Embraer series from Flight Sim Studios, start keeping an eye on it and start keeping an eye on what they're updating. As soon as the custom FMS is in there, I am going to do a couple of test flights with it, and I slowly start to get rather positive that once the custom FMS is there, it might actually become a decent aircraft. Okay, fast mode's on. In terms of system depth that we are finally going to see, a little bit hard to say because they just have no reference with glass cockpit aircraft like this, but I think it's going into the direction of the Aerosoft CRJ, and that would be good news. Because the CRJ, let's admit it, as many shortcomings as it has a rather okay system depth. And if the Embraer ends up over there, I'm sure it is going to be a fun aircraft to fly. Alright, so after hum we've got 24 miles to get down to 3,000 feet, so within 24 miles we can lose about 7,000 feet. In other words, we are pretty much right on track for our approach. Perfect vertical management here. I wonder how that could possibly have happened. It's too easy when you've got an FPA mode and don't need to worry about the vertical speed. Just dial in 3 degrees and then your formula is always gonna work out just perfectly. So looking down at the DMU, India Mike Oscar Whiskey is already coming in, and that is confirmed. So one thing we gotta keep in mind here is, while we are following that 3-degree path, when the target speed goes down like it just did, the aircraft cannot pitch up by itself in order to reduce the speed. So we quickly gotta do that ourselves here. So let's go to a -1-degree path while we are slowing the aircraft down. And once the speed reduction is complete, I'm gonna go back to a 3-degree path, and then we should still be perfectly on profile. So, certainly VFR weather. I wouldn't even be surprised to find some VFR aircraft on top of the clouds here. Well, TCAS is on, so anything that is there should become visible. Speed is coming back, not reducing very quickly. That's not really surprising, as it is a rather efficient aircraft. If you just look at the amount of fuel we've used, we haven't even used 1,000 kilos on this entire flight yet. Wouldn't be surprised if we end up just above a ton by the time we touch down at our destination. Okay, getting close to our target speed. I just want to try something here for a short moment. Let's go level change. Okay. I just want to see what rate of descent it develops when we're at 220 knots. So for a 3-degree profile, we should need about 1,250, 1,300 feet a minute. In idle it gives us 1,000. Well, not exactly perfect, but the speed brake is going to solve that problem for us. Okay, passing 10,000. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Okay, well, as mentioned, we do need the speed brake here, so let's bring that out. Half speed brake, and let's see what we're gonna get. 1,800, that looks much better. Right, let's go down to 5,000, which is the restriction until the Oscar point on our arrival. Set QNH. QNH 1012 cross-check, passing 8,440 now. All checked. And here we go, that's automatic activation of the anti-icing system. Plus 3 degrees, even though we are not on the clouds yet, so technically speaking there shouldn't be any icing right now. But I suppose they're probably just using the icing variables from the simulator itself, so I guess this is nothing we can blame them for. When the simulator tells you there's icing, then the aircraft has to react to it, I suppose. The only good news is, going through those clouds over here, at least we don't have to worry about VFR traffic, since they gotta keep their distance from the clouds, so that makes our life a little bit easier. Right, let's go ahead and hope the aircraft slowing down a little bit further here. Full speed brake. See what that's gonna give us. 2,300. Sounds reasonable if you ask me. So after the Oscar point we can go down to 3,000. As per our chart, the Oscar is the 15-mile hum point that we can see right over here. And we are reaching it now, so altitude down to 3,000. Gonna let the speed brake out just so that we get down, and once we're down we're going to start our speed reduction. Still have anti-icing on, temperature is +9 at the moment. But as mentioned, this probably just simply reacts to the icing variables of the simulator rather than calculating something itself. At least that is my suspicion over here. A small problem in our flight plan right now, we should have 21.5 miles as an overflight point. This one wants to turn before it. I'm going to help it though. Heading. And 1,000 to go, speed brake coming in. So, stall protection still stands to icing speeds, but the icing, or the anti-icing system itself has gone off. So once we reach the 21.5 point, when we overfly this, I am going to start the left-hand turn. Then our flight path actually matches the chart. I suppose that's probably a limitation of the standard flight, of the standard simulator flight planning system here, which, well, is rather incapable. Okay, overflying the 21.5 point. Left-hand turn. It's a runway 07, that means the runway 25, so we'll take heading 280 to intercept the ILS. Okay, over to lock 1, and the runway track should be 250. Here we go. Looks like they still have the incorrect glide slope scales. We are right now about 4 miles from the interception point, and there is no way the glide slope would be within 1 dot already. The glide slope would right now be at about 4,000 feet. That should be completely upper limit of the scale. Okay, localizer capture. I might have activated it a bit late. We might just go through the center line a bit here. So, activate approach speeds. Let's start slowing down. So, glide slope is armed. Runway track 250 is set. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Now look at that, the glide slope is barely moving in the scale. So that is still incorrect here, unfortunately. Okay, flaps 2. Speed checked, flaps 2. Right, we'll go manual speed control here. Around about 170. Like this. So, glide slope captured. Go around altitude 5000 set. Okay, I tell you what. FMS speed. The speed is barely coming down anyway on the glide slope. That way we can just keep the engines down and idle. So, field is straight ahead. The DME is located down here, a little bit hard to read at times, but, well, 23 knots of headwind. That means we really don't have to rush with the further configuration of the aircraft. Okay. Gear down. Flaps 3. Flaps 5. Alright, let's see. The gear is down and locked. We have our flaps on the landing setting, and that's it. Okay, beautiful. So that is literally all we needed. It's a neat looking airplane, isn't it? I really hope they are going to bring it to the same level as the 727. And better. But I think once the custom FMS is here, that is certainly a possibility. I wouldn't rule it out at the moment. I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Alright. Manual flight.
Throttle.
And manual thrust. I'm wondering if there should have been an audio alert when I disconnected the autopilot. Normally, airliners do have that. Okay, the radio altimeter does work though. For a moment I was afraid we might just have lost the audio, but looks like I was wrong about that.
400. Approaching minimums.
Checked. Continue.
100.
Puppy seems rather high.
50.
Much too high.
30. 20. 10.
Oh, it touched down on 10 already. Look at that. It still indicates 5, but we're definitely on the ground here. So the radio altimeter does still have some issues after all. Okay, manual brakes. Idle reverse, we'll vacate the runway towards the end. Well, and here we are. So, spoilers going in, trim should be 2.5 after landing, here we go. Spoilers also coming in. Well, that was a little bit of a positive landing there, but looks like the radio altimeter is still indicating incorrect. I have a feeling some developers are programming their radio altimeters to reflect the height of the cockpit and not the height of the main wheels above the ground. And that is really a problem, because with an aircraft like the Embraer, or for example also the A319 or A320, that have a large pitch on the approach, MD-11 is another candidate for that, the flight deck might be several feet above the main wheels. For example, we just touched down at roughly the 10 call out, so our flight deck was probably still 10 feet in the air. The main wheels were not, and the main wheels are what causes the bump on the landing. But okay, that's just a little point there. Okay, so here we are. "33 minutes of flight time there, and well, we are technically supposed to squawk mode alpha at the moment on the ground. Unfortunately, we only have either on or standby. Well, I'm going to turn standby now. Don't do that on VATSIM, otherwise you are going to get into trouble with ATC. Okay, so lots of gates over here. Wonder where all those lovely names come from. Come on, give me that ground shot. It does need a while, does it? Anyway, we turn the next to the right to enter the apron. Here it is, perfect. So really no idea where the Alpha and Bravo comes from. We need stamp number 10. Heavy. I doubt it. In any case, 10 is where we go to. So, the APU is up and running. And then, off to the left. Well, and I think we can already do a little summary here. So, the approach basically confirmed what I thought about the aircraft in the initial descent already. Overall, it does start to come together quite nicely. Few things that I would hope they're going to update about the aircraft, thinking, of course, the FMS still, but also some autopilot stuff here. The glide slope scales, in my opinion, are still another important item that needs their attention. But I am just going to submit another support ticket right after this recording for those glide slope scales, because they just have to work. You've got to be able to fly the aircraft manually on the ILS and get some proper feedback. Alright, but with all of that out of the way, we're in a similar situation that we have been in my last feedback video on this aircraft, and that's still, it shows potential. But it just needs to fulfill that now. They need to get the custom FMS, the custom autopilot, and that good stuff out. And when that stuff is out, then I'm fairly convinced that this might become a good aircraft. Okay, so thrust levers are on idle, the parking brake is set, we're on the APU. Then, shut down. Okay, engines running down, waiting for 20% on both engines. Here we go. Welcome to Münster Osnabrück. I hope that you have enjoyed this one. Give me your feedback through the comments below. Let me know what you think about the Embraer. And with all of that out of the way, let me know which aircraft you would like me to fly on the next couple of videos. The 777 is gonna come very shortly again soon. And with that said, if you liked the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as it does really help out the channel. And if you really love what I'm doing over here, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.